You're listening to Healing Voices Project, where we share stories and the latest information from people who fight addiction every day. I'm Mike Torville, your host and author of Voices from the Fallen. Thank you for listening, for following, and most of all, for sharing with people you care about. Make your voice count too. Hello everybody, hi, thanks for joining us back again at Healing Voices Project. I'm Mike Torville, your host, and again we're with our friends at the Michael J. Diaz Foundation, Adam, Karen, and John. And we've met with Adam, Karen, and John several times, but I think we want to today dive into a little bit about what's happening, what their needs are, what their future plans are, because I think it's important to share what's happening out there and why there is a need for change. Why is there a need to change their programs and some of the things that are happening around us. So Adam, Karen, and John, thanks again for joining us here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, always good to have you, and appreciate your time all the time as well. And I'm not sure how we want to start here, but you've got a lot going on, a lot of success stories here.
Yeah.
At the Michael J. Diaz. You've been around for 12 years.
Right.
You've got 3 houses.
Right.
You're working on others.
Yeah.
So tell us quickly about the 3 houses and what you have planned in the near future.
Right.
You want to start with that, Karen?
Sure,
Yeah.
I certainly will. Michael J. Diaz Foundation, we offer homes to those in recovery, currently men. We've had a very good success rate. We average at about 35 to 45% success rate. And according to research, the state has about a 5% success rate. So
now, let me not interrupt you.
Go
Can
ahead.
you translate the obvious? What does that mean when you talk about 35-40% success rate?
Well, I think Adam can attest to that.
Okay. You want to? What does that mean as compared to the 5% statewide? What does that mean to someone?
So what that means is we're seeing a lot more men coming through, and actually graduating the program, moving on to the next level and continuing to stay sober.
Okay.
So a lot of the men come back and put on. We have the alumni to come back and put on meetings, and they stay in contact with us. Mm-hmm. And obviously we see them in various different settings, and they're still sober and still involved. And that's how we track the success rate, is how the guys, they're still sober, still involved, and still doing it. So our success rates are higher than the average because more guys are staying involved doing what they were taught.
Okay, and typically how long does a person go through the program before they're out and then you call it a success?
So it used to be men were staying like maybe 3 months. Now the guys are staying 6 months to a year and then more.
Is that making a difference then?
It's definitely making a difference, yes.
Okay, that tells you a lot right there.
Right. I mean, they can stay up to a year at our homes, our sober homes, and transition to Sean's place,
right,
which you can stay up to another year there. So there's a whole...
So the success rate diminishes with a shorter stay, or it increases with a longer stay. Is that correct to say?
I would say yes, it does,
okay,
because the more time you have in recovery and you're working on yourself before you go back out into the world and everything from the world comes involved, you're ready for it.
And I think you obviously have to sort of adapt your programs and adapt what you're doing to achieve that greater success, right? You're always wanting to do more and to get there. So what changes have you gone through to get that goal and to get that number higher? Is there things that you've done that you've learned from?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think Adam brought up the alumni, and I think it's the mentorship. That has really helped. Even within the house, somebody who's been with us for quite a while is mentoring somebody who's just coming in, and they're learning what house living is all about, and what sobriety looks like, and how you can get to where you have sobriety for a longer period of time, and what you can do with your life if you do have that long-term sobriety. And so I think that's an important part of just that community that we're offering in the house, that allows, shows the men that, this is another path, a path to success.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why they're staying longer.
And you have great success stories that you can model that
Sure,
after, right?
absolutely.
You say, okay, here's what worked. And let's try as much as we can. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Every treatment plan is different. But how do you replicate that, right?
Right.
Now, you've said earlier that you've been around for 12 years.
Right.
You've learned, you've changed, you've evolved,
Yeah,
to use your word, a lot in 12 years. And so with that and where you are now,
Right.
due to the success rate and the programs that you have in place and the people you have putting those programs, like Adam and John, yourself.
Correct.
What do you have in the works now? And are you guys staying where you are? Are you expanding? Any changes upcoming?
Well, thank you for asking, Mike.
Sure.
The board of directors, after hearing feedback from the community, from our partners, from our supporters, we feel there's a need to open up a woman's house. Because right now all 3 of our houses are for men. But we really feel the need to open, using our model to open up something for women. And because we know it can be a success, and whether it be male or female, we think that our program works. And so, Adam, why don't you talk a little bit about what we would do with a women's program?
Thanks, Karen. So we're going to model it basically off what we do here, and that's a 12-step fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
So when the women would come in, we do a process where they fill an application. John, myself, or a new staff member who will be here will interview them, and we ask a specific set of questions, and then we talk a little more and kind of gauge where they're at and where they want to go in their recovery. Because sometimes the candidate may not want to come and be involved in what we offer. They might want to go somewhere else, so they might not be a good fit. So it kind of works both ways. Do you want to come here? Do you like what we offer? And, do we think you're going to be a good fit for the home? Because as we all know, one bad apple can spoil the bunch, and it does happen from time to time, but it's okay, because we learn, we move on.
Right.
But the women's home, so we would offer the same exact thing we offer here, except the women's side, because the need for that is so dire out there now. There are very few women's homes, sober homes.
There's a shortage of facilities for women.
Yes.
Now, you don't operate in isolation. You don't operate as an island, the Michael J. Diaz. You collaborate, you work with several programs in the area. How important is that?
Well, collaboration is very important.
Yeah.
It offers, we're able to refer our residents to the services that they need, whether it be mental health or health, related, taking care of whatever health issues that they have, job assistance, and just, getting them the services they need so they can get back on their feet and they can be productive members of society. So those collaborations are really, really important. One that we have with the Sheriff's Department, the AISS program offers a lot of services. Can you talk a little bit about that, Adam, what they offer?
So they offer services such as helping guys. They do offer rental assistance. They offer helping them getting their license back. They offer helping them getting jobs, getting different trainings to get back, OSHA certification, Serve Safe certification, things like that for the guys so they can go out there and get those jobs they want and maybe potentially turn into careers.
Okay.
So it's a great pathway for them to start, and then they can even help with different things like therapy and.
Okay. In some cases, position within care provider.
Yes.
Because I think that happens often. And you yourself is one example of that. John is one example of that as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's always, but going back to the shortage of facilities for women, what happens versus the availability for men and the shortage of facilities for women? I think we were talking earlier about an example of a woman who was put out on her own. Now, what typically would happen with somebody who's...
So it's a great question, Mike, and so I'll bring it up. It's personal to me, but it was my son's mother, and she, in recovery too, suffers from this disease of addiction, and she went to Chicopee Women's Jail, and she served most of her sentence, and then she went on to the drug and alcohol program, which is located here in Springfield. After she had finished, she was looking to transition into some sort of a recovery home, whether it was a halfway house, a sober home. There was nothing available. The day she finished, she walked out that front door and she literally stood there with 2 trash bags and had nowhere to go.
Trash bags with her clothes
With
and
her
belongings,
clothes and
personal
belongings.
things, but nowhere
Nowhere to go.
Where did she go?
Back to what she was used to.
Which is
Alcohol
a
and drugs.
common
Yes.
result of that. The shortage leads people back to where they've been before.
Right,
Yeah.
back into the environment.
Hence the need
Yeah.
for what you're talking about here.
Right,
Yes.
right, and that's it. We're trying to stop that from happening.
And how close are you to making this happen?
Well, we are asking for support from the community
Yeah.
to make this happen. We do need to find a location, and that location is going to cost money. And then if we have to renovate it, it's going to cost even more money. And then once it's up and running, we have to hire staff. So it's a whole program. And so we are asking the community to step up and be partners with us and help us, be successful in this endeavor, and to help the women who are out there that need this type of service, and just be partners with us and jump on the bandwagon.
So that leaves with an obvious question.
Yeah.
If people want to help,
Right.
how do they reach you? Website, phone number?
Absolutely. They can go to the website, which is mdiasfoundation.org, or they can call me at 413-304-0715. I'd be happy to talk to them.
Okay, you can talk about many things. But
Right.
more immediate is that need for
Yeah.
a women's facility.
Right.
Well, thank you. Any other things in the works, or is that number one priority right now?
That's number one. That's going to take a lot of time and
Yeah.
effort
All right.
on the whole foundation's part.
Well, good. I'm glad. So, again, it's website again?
mdiasfoundation.org.
mdiasfoundation.org. Well, Karen, John, Adam, thank you again for joining us. Always great to have you, and this is important. Thank you all for listening. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you again.
Thanks,
and we'll keep you posted on the progress. All
Right.
right. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. Thanks.